Salam and welcome to Somali Dispatch, SomaliDispatch.com. My name is Abdi Kadir Gulet. Unity once again is an organization that advocates for the reunification of Somalia's northern and southern regions. In a recent press release, the organization responded to a statement from the Somaliland Minister of Foreign Affairs regarding Somalia's elections. Ahmed Ismail Yusuf is the head of the Foreign Affairs Committee of Unity once again. He talked to us about the organization's goals and issues surrounding Somalia's unity. He joined us from his home in Minneapolis. Welcome to Somali Dispatch, Ahmed Ismail Yusuf. Thank you for accepting this invitation and explaining this massive issue to our audiences. I would like to begin by asking you if you can kindly explain what Unity once again means and what that organization does and how it came about.
Thanks, Abdulkadir. Thanks for inviting me. I'm actually excited to be here. Yes, Unity once again is an organization, indigenous organization, that it is born of the necessities or the needs of northern Somalis unity to begin with. And again, trying to renegotiate the general unity or how to bring Somalis together. And just exactly acknowledge the fact that we are one Somalia and one Somalis only.
I understand there's a lot of, there are members all over the world, especially in North America and Europe. There are a lot of well-known Somalis that are involved in that. To what extent is the organization worldwide?
The organization has representatives throughout the world. It has representatives in the United States. It has representatives in Europe. It has representatives in the continent itself and in Somalia. And as a matter of fact, it is also cross-clan. It has a cross-clan affiliation throughout the identity of the people who share the name of Somalis.
Right. So it's not confined to Northerners or Somalilanders.
Primarily, this group who is active now, originally from the northern Somalis, because our idea is just first to unite the northern Somalis. Because if we are not united and we are not all represented, as a matter of fact, we cannot call anybody also to our tent or to our house.
Right. I'm not aware of, but perhaps you are. Are there similar organizations in the South that are working towards that goal? Is there a need for it if there isn't one out there?
Of course, there's a need for it, and I think the Reruqoyi or the Northerners don't know that. The Southern Somalis also are fully aware of that, but it is just that they are just so organized to some extent, and that somehow or other they are lagging in the leadership and the vision just exactly to realize that itself. And we know that, we are aware of it, but what we are just exactly saying is just that if you yourself are not on the table and there is somehow or the other, there is a political football, let me say a political football, no one just exactly knows that you are missing from the other team. And if your team is not on the ground, no referee is just going to say, oh, stop the game. Mm-hmm. So that we have to complete the team.
Right. So as it stands, you are the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee of MINIMO once again, or Unity once again. And you recently had a press release responding to Somaliland's assertion that northern politicians who are in Mogadishu do not represent Somaliland. What was your objection based on?
The objection was just that we do have representatives that who are just taking part of the election that it is expected. However, we don't have our fair share, full share. We do know that. But just exactly to say, oh, this platitude of always harmful to some extent, though it's a platitude, just keep on saying that we are totally independent. We have been saying that we are independent for the last 30 years. 30 years is a long time. The whole world can change within 30 years or 20 years in that matter. So it is an empty rhetoric that somehow or another that the few that who call themselves leaders of that part of the nation are just trying to offer to the masses, to some extent, the youth that who is exactly waiting from them. And the rest of the world that are just exactly wondering and just saying when the northern Somalis are just going to take their place in the leadership of the nation that they are missing from it.
In the statement, the release statement also speaks to the fact that the authorities in the north or Somaliland, as it's better known, do not represent to the extent that perhaps you acknowledge. Who represents or is in charge if not them?
Well, that's the question. $1 million or $1 billion question, you could say. It is a fact that exactly the part of what used to be called Somaliland, British Somaliland, or even if I just exactly use the name Somaliland, but I would rather use actually Waqooyi. We know who is not on the table. We know who did not even participate in the election. We know that actually Harti or Dhulbahante and Warsangeli are not present and represented, particularly Warsangeli was not represented in the last election. We also know there is actually a quite a roar in the western part of Somaliland too. We know that Hisia is not happy with us, as well as Gadabirsi. So if there is a unity, if there is a unanimity, if there is a group of people that who have the same agenda, if the ideology itself is shared, I or my group have no space actually to talk about the issues that are on the table for the Somalilanders. But Somalilanders are not united. Somalilanders are not all represented. And also you cannot simply you cannot keep on saying that we are a different entity, or I did this, we did this. You haven't shown the muscle. You have shown the muscle of being away, but you have not showed a muscle just exactly to force the rest of the world to acknowledge you that you exist. And I don't think that is actually on the horizon either.
Mm-hmm. So Unity once again has a vision that you've outlined, and it's primarily has to do with Northern unity first. How does Unity once again propose that? What is the best way in achieving unity among Northerners?
Well, a voice that they know that exactly when they are on the front and when they are shoulder to shoulder, that they are a power to reckon with, that they are half of Somalia, that exactly also that they are the brain capacity of the nation, that there are certain ways that Somalia cannot move without us. And every part of us is just exactly going to tell you that. When you are in Posaso, they will tell you that. I mean, when you are in Las Qoray, they will tell you that. When you are in Las Anod, they will tell you that. When you are in Ergaba, they will tell you that. When they are in Borame, they will tell you that. Which means just that we have to have a same agenda, which means that we have to advocate for being a northern to begin with. And once that exactly we share what we have in the northern Somalia of what we used to call Waqooyi or Gobolada Waqooyi in that matter. When we have that, then that exactly we can share, we can ask our share in Mogadishu too, whatever that share is. As a matter of fact, alliance share. But otherwise, we are just birds that are being picked one by one.
Right. And you've just mentioned that it was in the released press release that Unity Once Again had out a couple of days ago that the Northerners, including yourself, do not feel that they get their full share in Somalia's, for example, parliamentary seats. To what extent is that a result of the fragmentation from the north? Because as you and I know, some of the tribes you've mentioned are not being even elected with the other Northerners. A lot of them are, especially in Eastern Senag and some of the Seoul regions, the representatives are being elected in Garowe, for example, and not in Mogadishu with the rest of the Northerns. To what extent is that affecting in getting, as you said, the lion's share in Somali politics?
Well, that's primarily one of our weaknesses. To some extent that we are not even aware that exactly that we are missing that wing of us. That exactly, even though we are not represented, or I mean, we don't have our share in Mogadishu right now. It is even worse when we don't have Forsengeli and Bahanti with us. Because right as we speak, while we also still don't have our share in Mogadishu, if we had all of us together, if all the elected officials right now, where we only have 11, if we have 13, and all 13 from Waqooyi, or everybody from Waqooyi was just speaking in Waqooyi ideology or Waqooyi agenda itself, we would have been still a power to reckon with. But right now, we know that exactly we are missing that wing. And as long as we are missing that wing, we are actually also deflated to some extent. So you are missing an arm. While you are missing an arm, you are not going to fight, or you are not going to box against someone who has both. So it is you can see that exactly what Mogadishu is doing to us, we are also doing to ourselves. Okay, Mogadishu shortchanged us and just gave us only what? Well, for example, the people that are being elected today are only 11. We are equal to Puntland. Nothing against Puntland. But we are an identity different, absolutely, totally from Puntland. We cannot be equated with just a simple state, one state. So we are not getting our share, and we are those who are from Waqooyi do not even know that exactly that we are missing, again, a powerful wing of us.
As we just spoke to, and everybody knows, 6 out of the 11 senators were elected today. Some prominent Somalilanders or Northerners are in that list today that actually made it through and would be representing the Northerners. If you can give us your what you think of how that went today. Was it encouraging? What is your reaction to the vote that happened today in Afisyon in Mogadishu?
Well, at least we have some representation. And the people that were elected, I know few of them, some of them, some who actually lost who were in the competition, but did not win. Yeah, I know them too. So yeah, I congratulate those that who are winners. So I still feel that we have some kind of representation at least, but I'm not satisfied because I still think that exactly that we are half of the nation, and we're supposed to have at least 50%, no less actually, of 50% of the representation.
Mm-hmm. So, the fact that the election of the MPs or the senators and the lower house is coming as well. When the scenario in which or the reality or the environment in which they would be operating in representing those regions, if the election couldn't even be held in the regions that they hail from. The fact that the Northerners and their authority are adamantly saying they don't represent us. What are the challenges that they're facing, and what is needed for them to accomplish that they can at least change the perception of what it is that they're doing in Mogadishu?
Well, to some extent, they are tailored to Mogadishu. It is just that you are not even able to go or allowed to go to the places and the people that you represent. It is a harmful policy. It is one of those things that somehow or the other that we cut in our feet, where we just exactly pulling we're pulling the rag under our feet. It is a political game that it is not benefiting anyone. So, I mean, somebody that was elected from Ergabo or from Hargeisa or from Burgo, but at the same time also cannot visit his family. He cannot visit or she cannot visit even when there is a loved one that who departed. It's really a harmful policy and a political game again. So we don't even know, or we cannot see how effective that or how will you go into represent the people that exactly that you think that you are the choice of. And until that change, we are just roaming around. We are just still animals that, yeah.
Right. So that's one aspect of it, right? Like there are other MPs from southern Somali that can go where they hail from due to the instability, or perhaps Al-Shabaab is in charge. So they have that in common with some MPs, right? But then there is the idea that these representatives that are claiming that they represent the Northerners, what services are they providing? What benefits are they contributing towards the development of those regions, for once, if they even can? The second, how can they up their game to actually show themselves as prominent Somali politicians that, that they can actually not hinder the reunification which you spoke to, because I don't even think they play a role in that, which is like, how could they be more relevant is actually what I'm asking.
Well, again, if they themselves are not exactly, if they don't really know their power, and if they are not exactly united, they cannot contribute to what we are fighting for too. But in terms of what they will do with the places that they are originally from, still they are able to contribute, because in a way the borders are open. The political game is something that we normally hear about, but for example, they are able to financially aid their families. At times, behind the scene, they are politically operating, and actually some of them are a power to reckon with, even though when they are in Mogadishu, but they would have been much more effective if they, separation. Given setting aside the separation issue or the autonomy or all that, if they had the freedom to visit home, if they had the freedom exactly to face the youth, if they had the freedom to actually debate with the other Somalis of the Wogoi, they would have been much more powerful, not only powerful, but actually seen and effective. And there could have been a sort of somewhat maybe political, not political solution. I don't see a political solution is still, but you could see a process of where people are getting to maybe negotiate or maybe to exchange ideas or to live within themselves, would understand each other better, sort of those things. They would actually lubricate the machine of communication and commerce as well.
Right. Ahmed, Ismail Yusuf, we could talk for hours about this and not make a dent. I'm glad, at least for today, you've accepted to come on and answer some of these questions. I am sure we'll continue to talk about these and other issues. I know you're multifaceted and you're a writer and you have books out, and I plan to talk to you about that as well in the near future. But in the meantime, I'd like to thank you for joining us tonight and appreciate you answering these somewhat difficult questions that Somalis of all stripes need to grapple with. I appreciate it and thank you.
Thanks a lot, Abdulkadir. I enjoyed the conversation, and as a matter of fact, I'm really glad that you reached out to me. So yes, the door is open.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Hey, thank you for visiting our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top Somali related news in English by visiting us at somalidespatch.com. And you should also subscribe to our YouTube channel here to watch interviews with newsmakers. Thank you.